Why did the Memphis Grizzlies decide to sell out this team this off season? What's up, guys? It's your boy Absidious back with another video. Before we begin, how about you subscribe and turn on notifications for more NBA quality videos? So if you don't miss those, I recommend you to subscribe. But with that out of the way, let's begin. What I mean by selling out this team, I don't mean it in the aspect of betraying. So no, I don't mean it by them coming out and throwing Triple J out of the bus or John Morant out of the bus or exposing anybody. I don't mean that they betrayed on anybody or snitched on anybody. What I mean by that is basically their whole entire offseason moves. They were setting out clearly with the assets that they have. The first move I believe they made was the Valanciunas trade, where they sent him and the 17th pick for exchange, Steven Adams, Eric Bledsoe, and the 10th pick. And that 10th pick turned out to be Zaire Williams. And then they traded Bledsoe for Rondo and Patrick Beverly. And then they flipped Patrick Beverly for Jarrett Culver and Hernan Gomez. And then they flipped Hernan Gomez to get Carson Edwards and Chris Dunn. So basically, I don't think they ever signed a free agent. All their moves were basically trades. And you can clearly see from chronological order, the best players were in the Memphis Grizzlies, and the Memphis Grizzlies were sending it to other teams. Valanciunas was the best player on that trade, and he was going to Pelicans. Obviously, Eric Bledsoe was better than Pat Bev and Rondo, and he was going to the Clippers. Pat Bev was better than Hernan Gomez and Jarrett Culver. He was going to the Wolves. And then Hernan Gomez was obviously the better player compared to Chris Dunn and Carson Edwards. But why did they really sell out the team? Why did they give up a team that, made it to the 8th seed and had room to grow? Like, Valanciunas was not that old. They could have kept Pat Bev. He was a nice, solid backup. Well, if I had to guess, I think what they're trying to do is trying to get more potential to this team. I mean, there's no reason why to get worse if you're not going to sacrifice it for other things. I think we all know clearly who's the best player, John Morant. And other than that, everything is a question mark. I mean, do you really consider JJJ a cornerstone for this franchise? Do they really rely on him as much as they want to? Can they really? I don't think so, because this guy is injured and there's nothing really that shows that, hey, he could be the second up and coming of Chris Bosh. And the same thing could be said with Dylan Brooks. Not that they're bad players, they're obviously amazing, tremendous players. Like, if they're going to go to the trade market, they're going to get significant value for those two guys. But those two guys, they're probably going to want massive extensions. And the thing about it is, you don't feel really comfortable by saying they're the second best player in the future. I mean, Jaren Jackson Jr., again, he has questions in playing in games. Dylan Brooks, yes, he's a great defender, but his offense is very tricky. Sometimes he's a great offensive player, sometimes he's one of the worst. Sometimes he looks like Prime Iguodala, sometimes he looks like current day Iguodala. It's just that he's not really reliable, he's inconsistent with his offense. And Jaren Jackson Jr. is basically that, but with his defense. Because yes, he's a great defender, but this dude fouls a lot. And you want to play him at the 5, but he's not that strong to play the 5. So those two guys, great players, but it's kind of very weird. So I think what they're trying to do is trying to see what is the highest potential of John Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Dylan Brooks. Can we really surround John Morant with those two guys? Are those two guys the second and third option of our future, or do we have to trade for a guy like Ben Simmons, who could be our second option, or Bradley Beal, or anybody who's available? If they could trade for anybody, I think they would do it. But they just want to see, maybe Jaren Jackson Jr. is the guy that they thought he could be, his sophomore year. And I think this year is just showing that, who has potential, who will probably reach their potential, and who will not. Like, they have Carson Edwards. Can he be a really good backup point guard? Can he somehow, some way find a way to play shooting guard? Can Zaire Williams, who I believe is 6'8" and is a shooting guard, is he ready right now? Will he show a lot of, promise in the league, you know, with the first couple of games, with the entire season, or will he just look like half, you know what I'm saying? Can Jared Culver be one of the best bench players in the league, or at least serviceable as a bench player? Because, you know, I think everybody expected him to be at least a decent bench player, one of the best six men in the league, and he's so far not that, and he could realistically be out of the league next year. So, you know, they're trying to find, you know, who could fit with this team and who's not. Xavier Tillman, he was a backup for, you know, Valanciunas last year, and now he'll probably get most of the games as a starter. So I think, you know, as you know, simply they're trying to find who fits and who doesn't fit for the future, whose potential will be reached and whose will not be reached. Because, you know, they can try right now and compete to get to the playoffs, that's fine, but if their seeding is just the 5th seed, it's not going to get them really nowhere. No team wants to have the 5th seed or the 4th seed as their highest potential. They want to go for like championship level potential as their, you know, highest potential. And I think Ja Morant shown that he could be a legit number 1 option in any team. Maybe not right now, but he's shown he will be definitely that in the future. With the rest of the guys, we don't really know. I mean, Jaren Jackson Jr., again, I don't really know if he's going to be a second option. Same thing with Dillon Brooks. I mean, they were shopping him and Kyle Anderson just a couple of weeks ago, and they could have really put a trade, especially with the Cleveland Cavaliers. They could have put a trade with them, and they could have gotten, like, I don't know, contracts if they want to. I don't know really what was kind of the trade offer, but they were interested in trading with the Cleveland Cavaliers, you know, for Dillon Brooks and Kyle Anderson. And I think they should still make it to the play-in tournament. I mean, yes, they lost a good amount of players who were really good and contributed a lot. You know, Valanciunas won them a lot of games, especially the play-in tournament game against San Antonio. He basically won them that game. But really, it shouldn't be that bad because, you know, Ja Morant should have an improvement. Jaren Jackson should. Dillon Brooks should. All those guys should. And if they don't make it to the play-in tournament, then it's clear who is the odd man out or odd men out. So we'll have to see what will happen with the Memphis Grizzlies. I'm really interested to see who will reach, who will not. Especially with Zion Williamson, who's a rookie. I want to see if they're going to be patient with him or no. You know, especially Desmond Bane. Desmond Bane, you know, is rumored to take the place of Dillon Brooks since he's a solid defender and can, you know, shoot. So basically, you know, if they don't want Dillon Brooks, that's fine. They don't feel bad if they're going to trade him because they have Desmond Bane. You know, Kyle Anderson, you know, is a nice rotation player. I mean, we have to see. You know, it's too soon to judge this team. We have to see down the line later that season. But that is it for the video. If you're new here, why subscribe and turn on notifications so I don't. By the way, last question: who do you guys think will be the star to be traded to Memphis? If things doesn't work right now, which star do you think will be traded? Some people say Simmons could be that one. Bradley Beal, Damian Lillard somehow. Who do you think will be traded to the Memphis Grizzlies? It's your boy Absidious, signing out.